Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. This is episode 160. I'm excited for this episode today because we all know about Google and Yahoo. Bing's another one. DuckDuckGo has come up, search engines, basically where we go to obtain all our information. But what if I told you that there is a company out there that's not only going to keep your searches private and not sell your data, but is also going to pay you to use their search engine? This is what we're talking about today. I'm sitting down with the founder and CEO of this company. I had discovered this company about a year ago, and for some reason I got sidetracked and didn't fully follow through with it. So I feel very blessed that I'm able to actually speak with the founder, bring him on so you guys can hear this conversation. The company is Presearch. So you can set it as a default. You're paid in their native token, which is PRE, which trades on some exchanges, which he'll go into where you can obtain that. But every time you search, you get paid. How cool is that? When you search on Google, they're just obtaining your data and then they're selling it off to make money on you you have no clue where this information is going. Now you can actually custom build a search engine of stuff you want to see, ads you would want to see, ads you would want to run, and you get paid. You can even refer your friends because it's a newer, it's going into the crypto type thing because it's a blockchain Web3 search engine, and this is where the internet and technology is going. So they are way ahead of it, and I've been starting to use this, and I'm loving it, and I am very, very excited. So I'm going to stop talking, but before I do that, I just want to remind you, please subscribe, rate, and review if you haven't done already. It helps us out so much. Again, so grateful for each and every one of you who keep returning to the podcast that makes you happier, healthier, and wealthier. And we will be right back with our amazing guest on this episode of Next to Madison after a brief message from our sponsor. Thanks. This episode is brought to you by Balance 7. Balance 7 is a concentrated alkaline with a pH of 11+. I didn't realize that acidosis is responsible for almost every infectious disease in our world today. With COVID-19 and the world opening back up, I started taking Balance 7, and after 3 days of taking it, I feel better, I have more energy, my focus is better, I think clearer. This supplement is amazing. Thanks, Dr. Noristani, for the recommendation. And all Next to Madison listeners are able to try it today by visiting balance7.com and enter code word Madison for a complimentary gift and free shipping. We are back with our amazing guest on this episode of Next to Madison, Colin Pape. He is the founder of a decentralized search engine called Presearch. And you guys are going to want to pay attention because there's a lot of opportunity in this, not only protecting your privacy because it's decentralized, but also they have a token. Again, not financial advice, but with that being said, I'd like to bring on our guest, Colin Pape. How are you doing?
Hey, Madison, I'm great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about the motivation behind starting Presearch.
Yeah, so I have another business called shopcity.com, and it provides local communities with kind of like their own Amazon powered by local businesses. And each community gets its own website. So it's like shop and then the city.com. So shopmountainview.com, shoppaloalto.com. And we were running those, specific sites with the local city governments and the chambers of commerce and the local newspapers in Silicon Valley, where Google is based, back in 2010, 2011, and woke up one morning in the middle of July and all of our sites were on page 8 of Google. They just could not be found unless you clicked through 7 different pages. And so we kind of were like, what's going on here? And just previous to that, Google had started something that was kind of competitive called the Get Your City Online campaign. So we started thinking, okay, what is going on here? Is this an anti-competitive move? We ended up getting our issue resolved through participation in an FTC investigation that Google was undergoing at the time. But it really made us realize just how much market power Google has and how much ability they have to really control what information people have access to. And it's not all just algorithmically generated. There is actually a team of people that do manual penalties and all these other things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. And so that was kind of like the realization that we need a more, community driven search engine, something ultimately that can be open sourced where people can participate in the process a lot more rather than have this kind of black box that
Yeah.
is controlling our access to information on the internet.
Well, I mean, and that's so well said, because I don't think most people realize, like, when you type in a search, the first page that comes up is kind of really what they want you to see. Obviously, you see the ads because they want to make money first, but it's not what should be seen, it's what they want you to see. And it really is a monopoly. So for you to start something to compete against this massive conglomerate who is just, selling our data like crazy and controlling everything is quite a feat. And I mean, it's inspiring to take on
Oh,
that giant.
yeah, definitely. There's an element of David and Goliath, and the community being really the David here. And yeah, we kind of built a prototype for something where we thought, the original concept and kind of slogan was the Switzerland of search. We were trying to just build a way that people could access different search engines more easily, which is kind of what you see if you go to presearch.org or .com. You'll see there's a bunch of different search icons.
Yeah.
And we've tried to make kind of a more inclusive environment because there are many different search engines out there, but 92% of search falls into Google's hands. And so, we had a prototype. It was really well received from a product standpoint. It was very sticky with the people that were using it, but we didn't really see like a viable go-to-market strategy at the time. This was like 2013, 2014, because Google dominates and they've got this huge moat around everything they do and all these network effects that make it really hard to compete. But then in 2017, we realized that through Ethereum, we could create our own cryptocurrency, which we did, the pre-token, and we
Yeah.
could use that to incentivize people to switch their searches over to Presearch. And then we could kind of close that ecosystem by mandating payment for the advertising platform in Presearch tokens. And so that's what we've been doing.
Well, that's great. And I want to get into that in just a little bit, but I just want to, just so you can tell the listeners, why is it so important for the future, for our future, that search engines are decentralized?
Yeah, I mean, search engines are really kind of the access point to so much in information. They're gatekeepers, gateways, and to date, all of the search engines that are out there, whether they're Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo, they are kind of at odds to some degree with the actual user. They're uh, generally either private or publicly traded, companies that are beholden to investors, specifically their initial, venture capitalists that might have different objectives than the actual user base does. And they just, have taken these kind of different approaches really to search. To us, it is more like a utility. It's something that humanity depends on to access information and to have unbiased search. But there's really been a demonstrated track record over the past 10 or 20 years of censorship and of bias and agendas and of certain information being really kind of hidden from searchers. And so we see a bit of a different future with Presearch where the community really is involved in the actual decisions about the content that's there, as well as rather than Google, we kind of think of it's like vanilla search, and it's kind of the same for everybody. There is really only that one bias, that one agenda that everybody has to receive within the world of Presearch, there can be multiple different defaults, and there could actually be like known biases or known agendas that kind of get built into a certain view and enable people to basically, kind of choose their own adventure and have more control over what results they receive and to actively participate in that process. So it's about access to information and ensuring that this censorship that specifically has been going on for, I would say, the past 5 or 6 years isn't something that ends up steering humanity in a certain direction without really people being aware of it.
Well, exactly. And I think so many people were kind of blind to it. And then COVID came along and kind of opened a lot of people's eyes to it. But also, here's the thing with the Google is you people are Googling the craziest things, right? Like
Yep.
the amount of data that these companies have on each individual, I mean, they could probably predict everything because they're going for your searches, right? Like for me, I
Yep.
did a Google search on like what's the newest best laser for anti-aging, right? So like Google knows I'm obsessed with like laser and anti-aging and skincare. That's fine. I don't really care. But people want to know that they can have these private searches and not feel like their data is going to be sold, because it's one thing if you want to sell your data, but at least let the people profit off of it. Like if you're going to sell my data, you got to give me some information, but they're not, because they don't have to disclose anything. You go on there and you basically have given them your entire life. So with you guys, there's a privacy though, right? You guys aren't selling any of the data off to any of these other bigger companies.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a private search engine. We don't store queries, so there's really no association between what you're looking at and your account, and it's really kind of a way to escape like the filter bubbles that Google can basically put you into, where they
Yeah.
start showing you certain results because they know that you're triggered by them, or that you are able to be monetized by them, and you're not being followed around the web as you do other things, which Google, because it has been integrated into so many websites with Google Analytics and the Google logins and all these different ways that they can start to associate things across different websites. None of that is possible with Presearch, and so you're getting private search, and yeah, ultimately there might be an opportunity where you could choose to expose that information, or build a bit of a profile as a consumer and kind of prove your value to advertisers. But in that case, yes, you would be able to monetize that yourself. So
Yeah.
for now, that's not something that we're doing. But if there was demand from the community, that would certainly be something that could be done in the future. Again, in a privacy preserving way.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because people didn't really realize how much of their data was actually like being sold, and that, I mean, that's the true money is data.
It is. It's kind of the new oil, and
It
I
is.
mean, you can think about it like on an individual level and the targeting that is possible, but also like in aggregate when you think about the amount of information that Google has about kind of the collective conscious, and what everybody is interested in, what the trends are, what like they could predict stocks, they could predict just about everything. It's really this incredible level of insight and power, and ultimately, depending on how it's used, control. But that has never really existed before in human history. This is a new thing. We're in kind of this whole new world, and a lot of people, they're just not talking about it. They're not thinking about it, and so that's kind of one of our core focuses and roles, is just educating people and starting those conversations so that people at least think about it as they're making these different decisions on what to type into a search engine or which search engine to use. and they can kind of be aware of some of the consequences and the opportunities of continuing to drive 92% of all searches into this one kind of search engine that it's not just a search engine. It's the number one video site, the number one email program, the number one mapping program that is steering us physically, literally, in different directions. And it's kind of crazy when you think about how much control has been given, not without consent, but not without full, informed consent, and the implications of doing that.
I know, and it's just so crazy because it's like there's so many rumors about Google. They kind of like were started. They're, CIA has
Yeah,
infiltrated them and Secret Service, and
yeah.
I don't know what to believe anymore. But I like the fact that you went out and went to compete with them and knew that you could do something that made people feel more secure online, and you will get more people going over as soon as you guys market and get the word out more. Because I was playing on your site and everything was coming up. I was googling the show and googling different things, and it was like, yeah, it's everything's showing up that would show up on Google. So it's a real search engine.
It does work pretty well. I mean, there's definitely always room for improvement. We're focusing more on browser apps and that type of thing to make it easier. The big kind of
Yeah.
missing thing right now that we're working on is autocomplete. So when you start searching and it does the suggestions for
Mhm.
you, that'll be coming in the not too distant future. But yeah, there's also some benefits that make it even more powerful for some people. Like, yeah, the ability to kind of customize it and have like your different icons for all the different search engines you might use. So for me, I might be doing domain name lookups, or there's a CRM system so that we can look up customers for Shop City. All of those different things you can think of as like a search interface. And so people are using all these different search tools, but they kind of have to either bookmark them and then click into them, wait for the
Yeah.
page to load, run the search, or they're Googling the thing, pulling it up. And so this way you can kind of save time. You can basically add all these different resources in, and then you have like what we think of as like a federated search field. So you can type whatever you want into that search field, and then you direct where you want to send your query. And so it's a good time saver for people that are web workers, or that have, other resources that they're commonly searching. So, trying to just find all those little glitches in the matrix where we can maybe add value and make it, better than Google in some cases.
Well, absolutely. And so what do you think it's going to take to start changing people's behavior, to start moving towards more of a decentralized search engine?
I mean, definitely there's been a lot of awareness generated, as you said, since COVID. I mean, there's been a lot of weird stuff happening, and there's all these narratives that are being pushed, and people at some point kind of reach this like, something's not right in Kansas kind of moment, and then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
start looking at alternatives, and generally all those kind of questions lead back to decentralization as being the solution. I mean, there is no perfect service, and there's no perfect cryptocurrency. It's about having choice and options, and not having everybody kind of reliant on one single solution, or one single tool. And if that's the case, then at least you've got some kind of resilience out there, and you have the ability to access a variety of information, a variety of perspectives, and you're not like kind of being fed this one perspective that ultimately a lot of people, they go, oh wow, is this really in my best interest? And when you see the censorship, and you see all the the warnings and all the things that people have been seeing over the past couple of years, and then it kind of leads them in a certain direction, and they end up making some decisions, and then a short time later, less than a year later, it's like, oh, actually that was all made up, or that was only a partial truth. And it makes people start to really wonder what else is there out there that they're maybe missing, or that
Yeah.
they're kind of not being exposed to. And so this is a way. I mean, we don't want to be like the new Google. Our objective is be a part of the solution and give people a tool. And for those that see value in it, enable them to be rewarded through earning Presearch tokens when they search, or when they contribute their computing resources to power the network, and kind of really be part of things, and ultimately be part of the decision making process. Because we don't want to be like another, like Mark Zuckerberg. This isn't like that type of, oh, we're out to dominate and there's going to be one person that's, honestly, I kind of consider myself like a reluctant leader. I'm here because I've had a vision and have been able to rally some people around it. But ultimately, I'm much more ultimately focused myself on giving this tool and this power out to the masses that are using it, and not trying to like hoard it all into one person or one company. And
Yeah. So are
I
you
think
guys
that's important.
are you a DAO?
So we're as we kind of set out in like our original white paper, the goal is ultimately to be a DAO.
Okay.
So we've kind of set out that what we would do is we would leverage all the the tools of centralization to get momentum, and to build out the technology and get things to a point where we have a community that really cares about things, and where there's the ability to have alignment around incentives with the Presearch token. And so we're later this year planning to migrate into a DAO form, which will
Okay.
enable the community to vote on use of treasury funds, steering the technical decisions of the product, and the roadmap, and really taking that full kind of control over the project. So yeah, really excited about that. And there's just so much innovation that's happening, and that was really kind of why we didn't go down that path right from the beginning. We started looking at things, and it was like, oh wow, this is all very
Yeah.
immature technology. It's not quite there yet, and some of these models are just very experimental. But there's some really interesting stuff, I would say, particularly over the past year or two, that has started coming to light, and some best practices and some different uh, technical tools that enable some of these governance models to actually be implemented. And so we're getting pretty close now, and yeah, target is this year to be transitioned to a DAO.
Okay, well, this is exciting. And you guys, this is where it becomes even cooler. We're going to go into your token
Mhm.
and how people can earn the token, where they can buy the token, because everybody everybody listening does searches. You
Yep.
search for information, you probably do it multiple times a day. What if you could get paid to do your searches? How freaking cool is that, right? Like, this is what your company does.
Yeah, it's been a really big
So
draw. I mean,
yeah, explain this, because when I first went on, right now it's presearch.org, it's going to be presearch.com.
mhm.
um and you typed in something, I didn't see, like, how do you start to where you're earning the coins, and where do the coins go, where can you, like, let's get into that. So how do you start accumulating?
Yeah, so there's really like kind of three primary earning mechanisms. One is, as you said, searching. The other is referring other people. So there's like an affiliate program basically. And then the other one is we're at the end of May 26th, switching over to decentralized user nodes, which power the platform. So rather than all the computing resources being provided directly by us, we're starting to distribute that out to all these people that we call node operators. And there's about 60,000 nodes that are kind of like waiting for
Yeah.
us to switch over. And so through any of those, you can earn Presearch tokens. You basically just create an account. In the top right corner, there's like a register link,
Okay.
and for now, it's working off of email and a password, similar to any other service that you've probably been using. In the not too distant future, that will start migrating over to like a crypto wallet, so you'll be able to connect just through MetaMask and be able
Oh.
to control your account that way, which makes it even more private. But basically, you can then go in, you can customize all your different settings that you might want. There's a couple of different browser extensions that you can either set it as like a home page, or you can change it so that the default search, when you like type in the address bar at the top, goes to Presearch, and that kind of makes it then easy. And that's kind of like the missing link for like if somebody tries it to when somebody sticks around, it's generally, have they installed that browser extension,
Yeah.
or if they're on a mobile device, they can install the actual mobile app, which is available for Android and iOS. And once that's done, then your searches are happening through Presearch, and you're earning, a small fraction of a pre. Like right now, it's something like maybe a tenth of a pre every time you search. And we kind of see in the future, like as the value of the network grows, this is kind of like the early days of Bitcoin. So when people were
Yeah.
first accumulating Bitcoin by being a miner, let's say, it wasn't really worth a whole lot, but fast forward, 10 or 12 years, and now that Bitcoin is worth a significant amount of money. We see the same kind of thing really with Presearch. So it's not like hey, you can earn enough to quit your job by running your searches, but in the future, if things go as we think they could go, maybe you might be able to contribute to your retirement fund in a significant way.
Well,
Um,
it's all about kind of holding them, because
yes,
that's where you really are seeing the value. We all heard about the guy buying, the pizza with 10,000 Bitcoin.
poor
It's
guy.
all about,
Yep,
it's not about getting dollars today. And that's what people need to kind of shift their mindset. It's about holding for the future. You can always, if you put something in, get your principal out plus 20%, you can write it, but it's
yep,
more for the future. So the coin is PRE, correct?
that's correct. Yep.
Symbol. And where can somebody just go and buy it?
Yeah, so it's an Ethereum-based token, like many of them are. So it's very compatible and uses, MetaMask or any of the wallets that people use. Trust Wallet is another kind of pretty big one. You can buy it on KuCoin. You can buy it actually. There's a marketplace kind of directly within Presearch. So you can go to marketplace.presearch.org, and you can buy tokens that way. You can even use a credit card, which makes it easy for people who are just getting started. Or if you're more advanced, Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange, you can buy pre that way. And then yeah, once you've got those, you can either use them to operate one of these nodes, and you earn more rewards as you do that. Or if you are in marketing in any way, which many people on the internet are, there's this advertising platform that uses something that we call keyword staking. And so you basically can go choose, yeah, you can choose a keyword and have your ad displayed by just committing your pre to that keyword. You don't actually have to spend them. You're just kind of like locking them to that word. And then as soon as you unlock them, then you get them back into your account. So it's almost like at this point, kind of like free advertising essentially. And there's some people that are doing really well with affiliate programs, others that are promoting their existing websites. But there's a fair bit of traffic. We're up over 3.7 million registered users already, and
Wow.
yeah, it's one of the most used projects within crypto because, as you said, everybody searches, and it's actually something tangible that people can do. So
Well, that's so cool. So let's just take it back and summarize it like in dummy terms, right? So people can
yeah,
really understand because they're going, wait, how do I earn money with this? Because that's the key word, right?
yes,
And decentralization, non-censorship. So you're going to go to presearch.org or .com.
hmm,
The .org, when it switches to .com, will just automatically forward to
that's
.com.
right.
So one of those,
Hmm,
and then you'll go to click at the top right, register
hmm.
for an account, and then you automatically start accumulating coins by just
Yep.
having an account. Where do
Uh,
the coins go? Where are they sitting?
Yep. So basically, you earn them as you search. So the more you're searching, the more you're earning, and they basically go into there's like an online wallet within Presearch, and kind of when you get to like a certain threshold, then you can withdraw it out to your account, or you can use it within the Presearch ecosystem. So
Okay.
that's kind of how it basically works, and eventually all those different transactions will be blockchain transactions for now. It's kind of like a batch process because it's just too expensive. Ethereum is currently like $3 or $4 for every transaction. So
Oh,
all
crazy.
these little micro transactions every time you're searching, that would not be economically viable. So yeah, we're working on our own blockchain to be able to solve that challenge. But for now, it's kind of like a traditional web service using, database, that type of thing. And then you get to that threshold and then you can withdraw it out to your own wallet.
Well, what is the threshold right now?
So it's currently 1,000 pre, but that is going down. We've got a new system that's coming out with what we call Web3 withdrawal, which enables people to kind of pay their own gas fees, which are the transaction fees to do the withdrawal. Right now, we're covering those, and so we kind of had to set a minimum threshold so that people weren't like putting in all these requests that are costing us $4 every time.
Yeah.
But as soon as they can cover those fees themselves, then that threshold is going down. And we're thinking that there will probably be different limits as well, kind of depending on where you are geographically. There's kind of different value and different incentives. So just trying to make it as user friendly as possible, but also kind of combating people who are trying to game the system, which is definitely one of the challenges.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure, especially when things kind of are new and kind of take off and yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned the word keyword staking.
Yeah.
How many pre-coins does somebody have to have to do that?
So the minimum is it's 100 pre. So currently that'd be like $10. It's not a massive amount at kind of the peak over the past maybe 6 months. It's been as much as like $40. So, but it really depends on what the keyword is. And it depends on how many other people are trying to stake it. So, like Bitcoin, for instance, that's like the most popular word.
Yeah.
That one's like 6 million pre to stake that one. So that's pretty
What,
huge demand.
is that one person that gets to stake it, or is there like a pool of people that go in?
So current model is it's a winner take all model, but we are transitioning over to so basically the percentage on like a pro rata basis that you have of all the pre that are staked on that keyword will determine how much of your traffic or how much traffic you receive. So it is going to the pool model, but for now it's super simple, kind of really straightforward, and it's kind of a winner take all model. The big crypto terms are pretty expensive, but a lot of the other ones are not, and a lot of them you can do it for the minimum value, the 100 pre. There's about 8,500 keywords staked right now out of like millions, so there's a lot of opportunity. And I'm honestly shocked all the time. Oh wow, nobody's staking this yet, and it's like a big thing that, and people are searching for. And again, it's not like an actual cost as far as you have to pay that amount of pre. It's just like you have to commit it, and then as long as you want your ad to be displayed, you just need to maintain that stake. But if you ultimately, some people they like taste it, basically is kind of how they're doing it. So they're like
Yeah.
staking a keyword, they see how much traffic they get, they see if it converts into clicks or purchases, and then if it doesn't, then they'll unstake that word, and then they'll go come up with another word and then put their pre to work that way.
That's so interesting. So how do you go about staking your words? You,
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So you can just go to, and again, it will be on .com in the next 2-3 weeks. But for now, you just go to keywords.presearch.org, and you'll basically see there's like a search field, and you can just type in whatever term that you might want to stake. It can be a single word or it can be multiple words in a phrase, and then it will show you basically how many other people are staking it, what the maximum stake is, and then you can choose, if you want to outstake somebody and basically bid more, then your ad would be displayed. Or if it's something that nobody else is staking, then you just bid the minimum, 100 pre, and then create your ad. And it's just kind of like a Google text ad type system. So there's an ad title and an ad description, and then a link out to wherever you'd like to send people. And then whenever they search for whenever somebody searches for that term on Presearch, It basically checks to see, oh, is there an ad with that keyword? If there is, oh, we'll find the one that has the highest stake and then display the ad. And then it basically enables you just to track your clicks that are coming through it. But you can direct it really anywhere you want.
And then you're just getting more tokens.
So in that case, what you're getting is the traffic, and the people who are doing the searching are getting the tokens. Yes.
Okay, so how do you get paid for staking?
So the way to get paid for staking is to contribute the computing resources that power the network. So you can go to nodes, nodes.presearch.org,
Okay.
and that has basically a way. There's like a piece of software you can install it on your computer, or you could run a server. And as you create basically a node, you register it. So then we know, oh, we've got somebody who we can send search queries to. So we basically anonymize them of any identifying information. We send those queries to like your computer or your server. And then your server actually is doing the work of going out and getting the results from the internet and then passing it back into the system. And so as you're doing that, then you're getting rewarded. Yeah.
Okay, so this is how many coins do you have to run a node?
To run a node, currently it's 2,000 pre, so it would be a couple $100 basically. We have these little hardware devices too. It's something we kind of like open sourced, and there's a bunch of community members that are selling them. They use something called a Raspberry Pi. It's like a
Yeah.
really small little mini computer,
Yep.
and you can basically buy those, and it's got like a Presearch logo on it, and
That
you,
way, because my next question was if you're
yep,
running a node on your computer, it's like how much space? How do you know it's not going to crash it? Like,
yep,
because people are kind of limited on some of their space. If they're not like video editors, they're
yep,
pretty much kind of, restricted
yep.
because they don't want to spend a fortune at the computer store.
That's
Um,
right.
so where can you buy these node things?
So the specific devices, there's one, coinmonster.store. That one has a bunch, and then there's another one. I think it's out of the UK, marketperceptions.co.uk. Those are the two kind of bigger ones that I know. But you can go into, we have like a Telegram community and a Discord community, and you can go in there and ask, and people will help as well. But yeah, just
Are
it's
they
it's really neat.
available?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So
Yep.
and then that's how people are making. So you create an account through
Yep.
presearch.com,
Yep.
and then everything hooks in to there.
Yep. That one is like
Buy
a
the
plug and
coins right in
play.
there, put them in there, just leave them.
Yep.
And did you say that so obviously your coin is getting hit like everybody else right now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting week for
So good
sure.
time
Yeah.
to buy then.
It honestly, it's somebody that I know, one of the most successful investors, and it's such a basic thing, and it's always said in so many ways. But he was like, Colin, you sell when people are buying, you buy when people are selling. He's like, that's it. It's
It's
it's so
true.
basic, right? But it's psychologically hard to do that. You want to buy when everybody else is buying, because you have that feeling of missing out. And it's the same, when everybody's selling, oh, well, I don't want to be the last guy holding the bag, so I'm going to sell. But really, if you can train yourself to do the opposite, that's when you actually, kind of
Yeah.
get things right.
Well, it's like right now too. It's like how much lower is it going to go? There's still, bad news coming out. I think we're pretty much in a recession. It's
Hmm.
like you don't want to buy yet, but it's like, the whole dollar cost averaging.
Absolutely. I mean, there's definitely, yeah, different strategies. And I mean, I myself think of it more like long term, not just
Yeah.
Presearch, but all cryptocurrency. It's like, definitely once you've started using it and you realize kind of the power of it, and the ability to like custody your own funds, and
Oh,
to,
great.
support all these different projects and actually be involved in communities. It's like, this is definitely the way of the future. And so you can picture in 5 years, I mean, the overall market is still so small. I mean, it's like the size of one big company. And so I mean, to me, it's like, if you're not in it, I mean, if you're not day trading and you're thinking like 5 years out, like there's almost kind of no bad time really to buy. Even the people that bought at 65,000, last October,
Oh,
November, and
Bitcoin.
they're like, oh gosh, what did I do? Now it's 30,000. It's like, man, hold on another 2 years, and 65,000, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm a genius, because it'll be 250 or 500 or whatever.
I
And
know.
I feel like that is kind of, maybe not inevitable, but I think it's highly probable. And in the event that that isn't what happens, then like we're in kind of a world that I don't think is going to be a great world. You know what I mean? There's like
Yeah.
super centralization, the control, kind of this whole
We don't want that.
great reset. We don't want to have the great
No.
reset from the World Economic Forum. So this
Gosh,
is a
no.
way to, steer away from that, and to kind of
Yeah.
put our money where our heart is. And
Yeah.
if we can do that, hopefully we'll bring about a better future. So
Well, exactly. So I want to go back to these nodes real quick. How
yeah.
many nodes can one person have?
It's unlimited currently. We have some
You
people
plug
that
them into
are
your wall in your internet, kind of like a little
most people
miner.
who are so sorry. So you can have one per internet connection. So what we
Okay.
have with yeah. So it needs like basically a distinct IP address, as it's known. And so if you have multiple IP addresses, then you can have multiple nodes. The people that are running like many of them, some are running hundreds of them. They're generally doing it like on these what they call virtual private servers, VPSs. And
Okay.
there's these different companies out there where some of them you can even get them for free. Like Oracle has one, you can sign up for, and it's totally free. And so there's no cost. You get to use their servers. It's just like an introductory kind of level thing. It really isn't that intense. It's a pretty lightweight process, and so you can run it on kind of the most basic hardware or server device. And basically you install the software, and then you kind of register into it. If you want to earn, then you stake the 2000 pre. If you stake more, then you earn more as well.
Yeah.
And basically it's not quite a total set and forget, but it's almost like a set and forget kind of scenario. We have a lot of people that just they do a one-time setup, and then they put
So do they
it
just
auto
plug it in
updates. And
and just stick it in their house? Like it's
yep.
does it have to be, can it be hooked to the Wi-Fi? It doesn't have to be hooked in through the Ethernet?
Yep, it can be hooked in through Wi-Fi. I mean, there's definitely like there's optimal solutions. Like generally, the ones that are actual dedicated servers, or like the virtual private servers, those are generally the best as far as the performance goes. And there is like a performance calculation that impacts your node rewards as well. But it will work on just about any type of device. I've used it hooked in through a Starlink satellite internet connection, which is pretty wild. And so, like somebody's query is like going like, up into outer space and back down and back up, and it still performed very well. So
Wow. And how much like energy and internet does it use?
it's absolutely negligible. It's honestly, you wouldn't even notice it. It's
And
not
do
like
they,
it's not like mining. Mining can be very
yeah.
resource intensive. In this case, it's like, picture if you surf the web, 10 additional pages, or, maybe 20 additional pages in a day,
So how
totally.
much can somebody, so you buy the node and then you just plug it in, hook it to the internet, or then you have to buy coins on top of that?
So the coins and the little hardware device are two separate things, and you don't need the hardware device. You can do it just by installing software. But if you wanted the hardware device, that's one cost. I think those are maybe somewhere around $200 or something like that for like the ones that the community members are selling. And then the pre coins are kind of there as like a security method to ensure that the people that are powering the network also are kind of like invested in the network, have skin in the game. And so yeah, that's the 2000 pre that you would buy in order to do the staking.
So, and what kind of money are we talking that these nodes are making per month?
So right now on average, like kind of like the low end, like 2,000 coins is earning you about $10 a month. So it's like, $200 if you were to buy them today, and then you'd be, bringing in $10 a month.
But what about the nodes? That's more the
Uh,
staking. Like if you purchased a node, how much are you?
that is the node, yeah. So the
Oh,
node will earn you $10 a month, yeah. But then if you want, more, then you can stake more, or you can
like
run
with
more
your
nodes.
same node?
Yep. Yep, you can stake as many pre as you want on a single node, and then that will significantly. Basically, it's like 50% of the node reward equation is based on like the performance of your node, and then the other 50% is based on how much you stake. And so we have some people that have a significant amount of pre that are staking on a single node, and their return on that stake is quite significant.
Okay, so right now the math you had said was 200 will get you 10. So if you did 2,000, you'd be making 100.
Sorry, no, 2,000 will get you 10. 2,000 is
2,000
the
pre-search, whatever the
pre-search tokens. Yeah,
value is.
$200, yes, would get you that. 2,000 would get you that. Yes.
Okay, so if you had 20,000,
Yep. You can
it
kind of do the math. Yep.
gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
And then it just keeps earning, so you just keep earning like more within it. So if you
Yep.
if you had 20,000 PRE and then you're earning that in the coins, your coin bank is just going up to then earn you
Yep.
more, and then obviously you want to accumulate and hold the coins, guys.
That's right.
So
Yep.
you
You
can
can
take advantage
restake.
when it goes up. So obviously, I'll never ask anyone, any crypto founder, blockchain founder, what the price is going to be. So we're going to avoid that. But obviously, I did pay attention when you said, "Oh, when we were up in the 40s," and I was like, "Huh? Hold on a
Yep.
second."
Yep. Yeah.
what
I
was
mean,
your what was your all-time high so far?
so I mean, over the past 6 months, I think it was like 45 or 48 cents, which is kind of like pretty,
Great.
at one point it shot up. I mean, when it first came out, when everything was going mental in like
Yeah.
2017, I think it went over a buck, but it was like for like 5 seconds. It was pretty consistent over 40 cents for a number of months, kind of, towards the end of the year before the overall market started into a downturn. But it was largely based on real world stuff. We got included by Android as one of the default search engines for all the users in Europe. There was like a
Oh wow.
European Union program that they forced Google to implement called the Search Choice Program, and we
Yeah.
got selected for that. So that has driven a lot of usage in Europe, and that was really a big story within the crypto space, one of the largest kind of mass adoption stories. And then we've got a partnership with CoinMarketCap, which is like the number one crypto
Yeah.
information site. And so, as those things were coming out, a lot of people were finding out about the project and buying tokens. And then, yeah, the price was kind of, reflecting that. So,
Well, that's so exciting. I mean,
yeah.
like obviously this is the coolest thing ever because you already do daily searches, but now you can get paid for it, and it's a newer coin. It's at a low like all the other ones, but at least you can get it at a good time. I feel like that at least people are not FOMOing into shit anymore
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
this downturn. You know what I mean? Because I FOMO
Yeah.
a couple coins and I'm like, damn it.
I know,
But
I
now
know.
I feel like you're pretty much
You do
safe.
feel bad. I mean, and in retrospect, I mean, in the moment, it's like, well, yeah, it's inevitable. It's all going, but it does. There are cycles as far as just it's market psychology basically,
Of
and
course.
all this is price discovery. This is all new stuff, and I mean, you still get these like just weird kind of mental like, well, why would I pay something this when it was this? X months ago. And, I've seen that happen with like domain names. That was kind of like one of my initial, virtual asset investments. And, I've got like, more than 10,000 domain names. And some of them, I mean, I remember I registered one once for $13, and I sold it within a year for $39,000. And it was like,
Oh my
an
gosh.
insane ROI. But it really took a lot for the people who bought it to be like, okay, let me get this straight. I could have bought it for 13,000, but it's like, yeah, but you didn't. And there's only
Yeah.
one that's that specific name. And so, it's kind of that whole price discovery kind of scenario happening across the entire crypto space. And
Kind of allowing people kind of even the playing field again a little bit. If you
yep,
were kind of felt late to the game, well, now
yep,
we're kind of back in at the same early spot for a lot of these coins, not Bitcoin obviously or Ethereum, but
yep,
a lot of the smaller ones like your Algorands and your Cardanos, which have both been on
yep.
this podcast.
Awesome.
So yeah, well, this is so cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so all right, you guys, so go to presearch.com and register for an account. Remember, if you don't register for an account, they don't know how are they going to pay you. So make sure you obviously register for an account. You can customize it right to
Yep.
what you like and what you don't, so which is good. Obviously I think it's a good value right now. If you want to buy it. Again, not a financial advisor. And yeah, I think these nodes are cool. I mean, the one thing about like you guys being happier, healthier, and wealthier is having passive income, because passive income is going to help like take that pressure off. So
Mhm.
definitely look into these nodes as well. I think it's something, if you can just kind of plug it in and then just make some money on it, like why would you not, type thing. So yeah, this is amazing stuff. So any other place you want to drag the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, website's the main thing, but we're pretty active on Twitter as well.
Okay.
Twitter.com/presearch news.
Yeah, I
We
gotta
do it.
follow you guys.
Yeah, we do a weekly video update every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We put out a project update video. So we've done 65 or 66 of those over the past year or so. And then yeah, Telegram, if you're on Telegram, t.me/presearch, or if you're on Discord, it's discord.presearch.com.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you guys definitely join those, Twitter and Discord mainly. Like that's kind of the crypto, communities, where you can kind of find out a lot of what's going on, ask questions, things of that sort. But yeah, so you guys start getting paid for your search engine searches. Like, why would you not? And the more you get the word out there, the more that I think this project will take off and Bitcoin will appreciate. And again, not financial advice, just ain't it out there. I'm gonna buy it. That's all I'm gonna say. So,
So
but no, this has been very, very exciting. And thank you so much for coming on to the show.
yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Glad we could get connected, and thanks for the great questions and the in-depth. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love what you're doing as well. So keep it
Well,
up.
thank you so much. All right. Well, please keep in touch. And you guys listening wherever you are, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Next to Madison. And we'll see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.